Guys, big day today. I get to show off the coolest, most ridiculous vehicle that we're not borrowing, that we're not filming, that I own, and it is solving the problem of how to drive a super duper fun car in the city. Ladies and gentlemen, my radial engine powered Meyers Manx. Ta-da! This is it. How awesome is this? You see, here's the problem. When you have sports cars and collector cars and you love those cars, driving them in the city is not so fun. The roads stink, you're going slow, it's traffic. My Spider, I gotta get up early, go to the mountains, things like that, right? Maybe you guys can relate. You only wanna drive those cars for fun things, not to the office or to get groceries, right? But what if there was a car for those other things, but with the vibe of a sports exotic car? And this is it. The Meyers Manx is based on a 1971 Volkswagen Beetle floor pan that's been shortened. In this video, I am going to explain why I spent my money on such a silly thing, why it is such a crazy color, and why cars that are powered by airplane engines are better than cars that aren't. And guys, I can't wait to take this car for a drive today, but before I do, I gotta make sure it's clean. Fortunately, today's sponsor can help. You know, one of the only problems with the Manx is cleaning it, actually. My leather seats can't get wet and the carpets have to come out, and consequently, most of the time I clean it with air. And that's why I'm so stoked to have Wolfbox on board today with their all new MegaFlow 200. These new compact, lightweight, portable air blowers are super powerful. They flow a ton of air. They have interchangeable tips for all different types of scenarios, rechargeable batteries. You can use them around the shop. You can use them to dry your car. You can use them to get in the nooks and crannies. You can use them for landscaping. You can use them for camping to help start a fire. All kinds of different stuff. It's a little...
It's poofier.
It's poofier. They're lightweight and super convenient to travel with and keep in your road trip arsenal. Hit the link in today's video description. Get one for yourself or someone you love. And thank you to Wolfbox for sponsoring today's video. The whole story starts with this, the 3-cylinder, 2-liter Radial Motion engine. And a lot of people would say to me, why would you get a car like this over something like a air-cooled 911 or whatever? This isn't how I think about cars or collecting. I fall in love, and if I can afford or find a way to afford, then I buy. That's pretty much all there is to it when it comes to me collecting cars. So last year at the Quail, I saw a Meyers Manx with this engine, and I got to write about it once I drove it for Road and Track, but it was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I mean, we've had all kinds of different cars come through, and it's hard to keep me interested in something for very long. But this seemed very interesting, even though I'm not really a Volkswagen guy or even a very old Porsche guy for that matter. But I mean, just look at it. And if you're going to have a car with a weird engine, wouldn't it be great to have a car with a weird engine where you can just look at the weird engine all the time, right? Like my pink Porsche has a weird engine, but you can't see it. I got to put a little sign up like a dork that says the car's got a weird engine in it. But like, I don't have to tell you that. You're going to walk up to it and go, that's a weird engine. That makes it good. Now, the engine wasn't enough to get me to pull the trigger. I had to make sure the car was going to be a real thing, a complete package. So once I started learning about the reinforcements that the new Meyers Manx, led by Freeman Thomas, was making to the tub, to the structure, reinforcements, improvements in pretty much every aspect of it from the flimsy originals, that's when it really got interesting. Now you can see our previous video when this thing was halfway built to see really what goes inside of it from an engineering level. So go check that out, and instead let's talk about the finished product and the vibe. This is a happy place. This is a zen place. When you sit in this car and look forward out of the dash, you are forced to smile. You are surrounded by positivity. These seats just say happy days. And even if it's cold out, they're heated. The shifter full of hot dogs. I mean, how are you not in a good mood when shifting a bouquet of hot dogs? Looking out over a sparkly dashboard and at the back of those headlight pods with like a fisheye effect looking back at you like it's the cover of a Beastie Boys album. Like, you have to love that. And like the curvature of the soft top, the way it rakes forward like the monkey mobile, gives you just the most aggressive late 60s, early 70s vibe. We also made some adjustments. We had the upgraded sport shifter. They built me a dead pedal so I can actually rest my left foot along with a trigger high beam. And I made this final modification because I've been using this car every day. And my groceries would flop around on this useful parcel shelf back here. That was a problem. So I got a vintage vegetable crate, and I've lost a little bit of weight recently, so I have some belts that are too big, and I used my old belts to anchor the crate down using these beautiful anchor points that Manx put. And now I have a pretty cargo box that actually smells really good because it's like 60-year-old wood. I then added a MagSafe cell phone mount with a USB-C charger because, look, having GPS and stuff is helpful. So, but it's tucked out of the way. It's down here. So, but this is it. It's fabulous. I've done 800 miles in a month in this car, and I'm going to take you out and show you what it's like to drive because it's just a raw happiness machine that you just have to see to believe. So part of the appeal of a silly engine is a silly starting procedure. And because the radial has two cylinders that actually point down, right? Oil collects in the cylinder heads. You may have heard about Porsches that may smoke when you park them on an angle or when they sit for a while with a flat engine. Well, think about an inverse V, a down. So what you have to do, first you key on, and when your display powers up, it says oil not purged. Okay, the implication then is that you have to purge. So the big red plunger knob is pulled out, which I love. You then run the starter motor, which acts as a purge, right? And then the light goes away. Then you plunge the red knob, and then you start it again. And then it starts right away. So from where I'm sitting, so many good decisions were made here. This engine, it's awesome. Designed in Australia for use in light aircraft. The company was acquired by Manx, and they're putting them in buggies. And I've kind of got the first customer one, which has allowed me to do, which has allowed me to do all kinds of fun things. I'm basically doing a bit of development driving. This is a highly experimental and very weird engine, although the engineering behind it is totally sound. The internals are all GM LS3, which is really cool. It runs on a Motec and it's water cooled. It makes 150 horsepower, 170 pound-feet of torque, and the car only weighs 1,530 pounds wet. So the power to weight is excellent. We ended up going with the short shifter for our motorsport grade gearbox, which is a decision I do not regret. Driving this around, it's like this, 75 every day here, most days. And it just makes me happy to cruise around in this thing. Life is good. I'm outside, but I'm protected by the bimini. This thing has torque like a Harley Davidson, so I can just loaf it along. But when you wind it out, it sounds like an aircraft. It's got a real biplane vibe. But it's also very comfortable. I've got tons of room. I have the seats set up for me. The pedals are really nicely spaced. Of course, you know, if you get into a crash, you die. I mean, that's the trade-off. I think it's okay to have totally dangerous vehicles as long as the fun factor justifies it. So if you're gonna have something sketchy, it really should be very fun. Red line's at 6,800 RPM. It's geared out to about 85 miles an hour, but trust me, that is suboptimal. 65 is where the Manx is happy. I mean, it's a cruiser. It's a cruiser with a weird engine. It's not a supercar. Having said that, Porsche 356 rack and pinion steering, King shocks, independent reservoir, has quite a nice ride. Steering is pretty good. The inputs are all very nice. And although, yes, it's a tub on a pan, it's tight. Feels like a real car, mostly. So as we do development driving, we're working on a couple of things. One is, there's a real stall area in terms of airflow at highway speeds at the back of the car, which is sort of problematic. So they're actually coming up with a front mount radiator auxiliary, which is interesting. And we're gonna have that soon. In the meantime, my freeway time is limited. But it's like barnstorming. I just love it so much. I throw in some noise cancelings, some earbuds, and then I'm good. Rolling out to Malibu for breakfast. Fabulous. As you can imagine, everybody who sees it loves it. Nothing but positivity. It's a 71, so it never has to pass smog or any kind of regulation. The sounds it makes are just so cool. But on the highway, the accumulation of heat over time, the temps can climb. You have to slow down, cool it off. So that's sort of the last piece of the puzzle is how do you cool a water-cooled engine from the back? The answer is you kind of don't. So at the front of the car, you can see underneath the chrome bull bar where a front license plate, whoa, did I mention Porsche 356 disc brakes? So down at the front is where a license plate would go, is never going to go. But they're coming up with a front mount radiator. It's actually very cool. It's the front unit, side unit from a new 911 Carrera. So it's just an OEM part and it goes in the nose and they're gonna run the two radiators in a series loop. So the hot coolant will go all the way down the tub to the nose. It'll go through that radiator that's getting fresh air on the highway. Then it'll go to the second one in the back with the fans, and then we should be golden for infinite highway cruising. People think I'm full of it. People think I'm nuts that this thing would give me so much joy. But like, you gotta understand, the best sports car is one you can use. And although this may not be a real sports car, I keep it in my house, I drive it to the office, I drive it to the store, I drive it to those in-city cars and coffees where I don't want to drive the real sports cars, not up the mountains, to Malibu for breakfast. This is the vehicle version of my Vespa. Wow, what alliteration you have there, Farah. The vehicle version of a Vespa. That's it. Distilled happiness and sparkle. And wow, come to the end of this block and we found a 280 SE Cabriolet. The gems you see in Los Angeles down random streets. Wow, fabulous. So they're working on the cooling. We're also working on the fine tuning of the throttle mapping. A little bit of a unique situation with this car, but totally drivable. And for about a month, I use this as my car, like just my car. We've done 757 miles from new, virtually no highway, virtually no canyons. So that's just errands, it's great. It's a fabulous thing. Working with the team at Manx, just spectacular. A whole thing. It feels like you are buying a Pagani or something, but for way less money, and you're having more fun most of the time than if you were driving an actual Pagani. So I'm gonna keep the adventures going, and everybody should just get themselves a Meyers Manx now. It's so fun. And don't forget, always fight your tickets. Go to offtherecord.com/TST for 10% off all legal services from Off the Record.